Gotta bumper it.
If it's craft beer in Michigan sports, we may not be the authority, but we love both like a fat kid loves cake.
We'll see you. We'll be here next week still. We'll still be talking this time next week. It's not one of those talk to you next week, if not sooner type things. We'll just continue to talk.
Honey, I'll be home tomorrow.
John looks. He looks mad at me.
Yeah.
Are you mad?
Are we through like 3 out of 9 pages right now on the show sheet? Sheet.
You guys want to save the Michigan and Michigan State talk for next week?
Or Tigers spring training?
You want to
Wait,
save
we're
the
supposed to talk about the Tigers too?
Yeah.
Wow.
Should we cut the Tigers
Yes.
Cut the Tigers.
Yes.
Touch on Michigan basketball. Call it a night.
and Michigan State?
I guess.
Yeah, I mean losers at this point, right?
Yeah, that's why we got to talk about it.
Underwhelming in March again.
All right, Michigan basketball round 1. Michigan was matched up against number 6 seed Colorado State, but were the favorites heading in. They were down 15 points before Dickinson, who ended up with 21 points, Brooks, who ended up with 16 points, and Frankie Collins with 14 points, led the comeback to win 75-63. Michigan's overall talent was the difference in this game. I think it was proven. I think the halftime adjustments were well done. I think it was a really well-coached game. The fact that they were able to just find their way to win that game and went down 15, it was impressive. Because Michigan's been a team that hasn't had answers when it comes to that kind of stuff in the past. And the fact that they did was nice to see. I mean, I don't know if you guys wanted to talk a little more about that, or should we just get right into and talk about it as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, it was that was the scare.
Yeah,
a little bit there, and then but they started taking care of the ball. Yeah, and they were just were the better team. That's really, really important for Michigan. They need to take care of the ball. They cannot be lazy with it. Turn the ball over. That's what bites them all through the season. That's what got them.
It's weird because they don't turn the ball over like in high quantities, but it's like when it does happen, it happens 4 or 5 times in a row, and you have 4 or 5 empty possessions. That's when things become a problem.
Let's go.
That's the empty netter to make it. That's what I was talking about, was the empty netter. That was an empty netter, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the empty netter. That's what you bet on. That's what you bet on is the empty netter.
They might get another one.
There you go.
Do it again.
Sunquist got it.
Let's
Atta
go.
boy.
Sunquist. Bertuzzi a plus. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about, Jeff.
Isn't that like an
Blackmore
orange
family?
soda?
LFA?
Sunquist? Isn't that like an orange soda?
Yeah, right. Well, I think so. All right, so then in round 2, Michigan played the underrated. So Michigan played the underrated Tennessee Volunteers as a 3 seed, right? Everybody was saying that.
Who is saying that?
Everybody was saying it.
On a national level, they thought they
Clay
got
Travis,
gypped.
who
Yeah.
I trust a lot.
Like Kentucky got a 2 seed. They thought Tennessee should have had that 2 seed.
Yeah.
Well,
But I think Michigan would have embarrassed
good.
Kentucky as well.
as the 3 seed, the Tennessee Volunteers, in a fun back-and-forth game, Michigan was leading early but trailed 37-32 at half, and it looked to be over at times. Like, honestly, I remember sitting at my friend Justin's house, and I'm like, this game's over. Like, Michigan was down 6 midway through the 4th quarter, and it felt like everything was against them, and then all of a sudden, Dickinson, again.
Man, he's
Dickinson, 27 points, 11 rebounds.
The rebounds
Brooks,
were so
23
crucial.
points.
Free throws.
They hitting the free throws. It's huge. Like, this team played, they backs against the wall. You're not supposed to win this game. It's starting to fall out from under you, and they responded well. And I feel like the veteran leadership that this team has with Brooks and Dickinson is becoming up huge in this type of tournament, because you're seeing all these teams lose with their talent, high-end talent, but they don't have the leadership to get them out of the dumps. You know what I mean? And that's what Michigan has on top of the talent. We haven't really seen it yet, but we know it's there, and it's a good mix. They also shot the ball pretty well, and that was good to see. Overall, like, it's their 5th straight Sweet 16, which is awesome. I think I saw like some stats like the 5th team to ever do that since like the 80s or something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It doesn't happen.
I wish I had that stat in front of me.
Randomness of the tournament, this is incredible.
It is. I mean, Michigan's becoming the Michigan State, just always going on a run. Even when their back's against the wall, they figure it out.
I think Frankie Collins, we cannot underestimate or downplay his impact on this team, stepping up.
It's big.
I really felt like he should have had more playing time all year long, but I didn't expect it to come during tournament time. I thought
but it's
that
the injury,
that
right?
had passed. Yeah, to Jones.
The concussion to Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But you get him in the game, you see the stability that he brings.
Yeah, and he had a great game in the first game, but he wasn't. He didn't put up big numbers against
No.
Tennessee.
But what he does is he has the ball, and he's able to get where he wants to go on the court and then make a good decision. And it's not the right decision every time, but at least it gives them the ability to react to pressure. And that's the biggest thing. When you have the pressure on you, you cannot just start passing the ball. Like, he holds on to the ball. He plays at a good, slow pace, but yet has the quickness to beat his guy. And so I think the importance to this team cannot be understated. For a freshman to come in, I think we're in good hands years to come.
So next, Michigan will play. John, I'm sorry. Do you have any thoughts on what you saw so far?
I think Eli Brooks is the key point into both victories.
He's been very clutch.
Yeah, I think he's like the first player in the Big Ten to play in 4 straight Sweet 16s, I believe, too. Like you said, the experience that is lacking in the NCAA tournament right now. I think Gonzaga's got a couple guys that have been there a couple years, but I'll put my money on a team with any sort of size this late in the season, and that's what Hunter Dickinson's bringing to the floor.
I mean, I think Dickinson in the first 2 matchups, the size was the big difference that he has, and it's unarguable. I mean, it's been a massive mismatch, and he also hits the shot too, which kind of has been cool.
Yeah, he's working with Juwan
that.
Howard on his big post moves, big man moves down low. But I mean, he's one of a handful of true 7-foot guys on the floor in college basketball. So, like I said, I'd take that all day. And he's a lefty; it's a little unorthodox. Guys are having a hard time guarding behind that.
And his hook shots.
So next,
too.
Michigan plays Villanova, and currently a 5-point underdog. It's a rematch from the 2018 national championship. What are the keys to this game? Does it come down to Dickinson, or are we going to have to find a way to hit these 3-point shots to keep this team in it? Because that's what Villanova does, right? Is they go on those runs where they just hit and they dominate, right? Those short period and just put up a ton of points, and you got to find a way to answer.
Well,
is that what it comes down to?
Yeah,
Dickinson.
They run a roster full of guards, so that puts a lot of pressure on our guys that are trying to spread the floor and, like you said, take advantage of the 3-point line. I feel like this is going to be one of those games where the referees are going to get over involved, and it's going to hinder the amount of playing time, especially for Hunter Dickinson. If he's the only big guy out there, they're going to be calling fouls. That takes him right off the court. I hope that doesn't happen. I'm just trying to jinx that, but we've seen already in the NCAA tournament like poor officiating on a grand scheme. On the overall scale, so hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, if we can get some clutch buckets from the outside, that'll keep us in the game for sure.
It feels like when the refs decide to hurt Michigan, it'll hurt Michigan badly.
I think Caleb Houston should play a role in this game. Like, we need him to come up clutch with 3-point shots, and he was completely. I don't even know if he scored the last game. He might have had 2 points, maybe.
I think he had 2. Yeah.
Yeah, but he averages something like 11 or 12, and is he a letdown overall for the season? Yeah, maybe not as good as we all thought he would be, but he can go off at any time. He's got a pure stroke. He can get hot. This is a game where we need those kind of guys to get hot and hit their outside shots.
Micah, you were going to say something?
No, just to bring up the officiating. You weren't kidding.
You were going to say something.
Right?
No.
So,
Not no.
Yes.
no, the officiating has been
no.
just so beyond questionable.
Atrocious.
And not that I care or like Illinois at all, but man, did you guys see that call?
Yeah.
Are you
Well, the
kidding?
hanging on
Are you
the
kidding
rim
me?
thing. Oh, that was ugly.
Yeah, the kid that got thrown out for North Carolina too. Like they gave him the double technical, got him out of the game.
Yeah,
couple
high elbow.
a couple of big, just a couple of big calls late in games, and these other like 1-seed matchups too. Like Memphis came down on the wire with Gonzaga, and it's starting to like spew into the women's bracket. Not that I'm watching the entire WNCAA.
What did you say?
Did you watch?
Tournament.
Did you watch some of that?
No, I got
you said
bored.
Tired. Like you
I got
watched some of
bored.
it?
Yeah, I watched the
got
UConn
bored.
game the other
Did you
night.
bet on the
yeah.
game?
No money.
Then
no.
why are you watching it?
Just I don't know, just to see the quality or lack thereof of the haircuts.
The madness.
I
The
like
madness.
it.
But
The
no,
madness is there now.
it's always this. The referee's got to stop, and then like reviewing the calls, and it takes way too long.
I hate it. Yeah.
Ends the momentum of the game. So even if that's involved, that just stops any type of run that Michigan can put up against Villanova. But if the overall officiating is bad, it's just that doesn't suit well, especially for a guy like Juwan Howard.
Yeah, that's
We
upsetting.
need to stay in front defensively. We cannot let them just kind of pass and cut their way to the basket.
Blackmore family's pumped because we got the win. I think.
Yeah.
We win our parlay there, Blackmore family.
And then there's who's MS?
I don't know who MS is.
Oh, commenting
I
on
think
YouTube.
It's a bad disease, isn't it?
Yeah, so-
I thought you were talking about Micah
Whoa.
Smith.
Oh, I bet you it's Micah Smith.
Man, you
Is
take
it Micah
it
Smith?
easy on me, all right? Come on.
MS is pumped. Keep the MS going.
for the wings. Anybody got that bottle opener?
Shh, keep it up.
Here you go.
I can't. Are we gonna go through all 12 of these in one night?
Yeah,
I guess with
I
a
was-
13-hour episode.
Mike and I were
going
to split one, and then he poured it all into his own glass.
There
Oopsies.
might be more in there. Are there
I-
any more
I-
in there? Or was that the rest of them?
I don't know how many bottles are on the table.
We got one here. Is this the one
Yeah,
you're gonna
that's
do?
what
Yeah,
it is.
we're gonna split that one, Ryan.
Oh,
Sounds good.
Are we done? Are we done? Is that it?
why are you going to split that? Don't you have to walk home?
Yeah, but
Are we at 12?
Taking it easy, man. Come on.
You want the whole thing, Ryan?
Cheers to over
No,
on
half
for
it.
what they do.
Yeah, this is
This-
numero 12.
All right, so does Michigan win?
Yes. Revenge tour. Chase Winovich is going to be sitting sideline, baby.
Nice.
Is he?
No.
What team does he play for now? Cleveland.
Cleveland. Boo.
Cleveland. This is for you.
God, I don't know.
It's in San Antonio or something, right? It's in the game in San Antonio.
I don't know.
Okay,
know
gut
what's
feeling.
going
I think Michigan probably loses. They have a defensive blunder type game, but slappy me. Of course they're gonna win, but no, I think deep down they're gonna lose.
I need them to win. I didn't pick them to win in any of my brackets at work, but the guy that is in first place right now has Villanova winning overall.
Okay.
Really?
So I need him to win, and I'm back by 1 point. So if they win, then that cancels out one of his national championship contenders.
All right. Can I just give myself a little credit here? Or I shouldn't say myself because it was a team effort on my parlay. We had Trae Young over 27.5 points. We had like 45.
Who is we?
Trae Young over 2.5 threes. He had
You got
7.
You must have a basketball friend at work
Atlanta
talking to you into putting money on basketball.
No, this was me. This was partially me. Like they're buying into my
Trae
hot
Young was
streak
looking
for the-
bad.
Yeah,
too.
But
not good at the
Then
basketball.
we had Hawks money line. They came back and won. We had the Red Wings minus 1.5. We just won 400 and something bucks.
Whoa.
Really?
Pizza
at
for
that.
lunch tomorrow.
Woo!
Pizza for lunch tomorrow.
My parlay's gonna lose tomorrow, but I won today. That's all that I care. Well, all right, sorry, where were we? All right, let's move on to Michigan State. Are we moving on to Michigan State? Are we still talking Michigan?
From the Red Wings
Doesn't matter.
to Michigan State, we're talking about it. This is State of My Sports.
Michigan State, round 1. MSU survived the Davidson comeback to win 74-73 thanks to 27 points by Joey Hauser. They should have won. Wasn't easy. Shouldn't have been easy. But in this type of tournament, just win, right? You just win. It's not about by how much, by how little. It's just all about winning. And they found a way to win. It was just, I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I don't know.
Underwhelming. They survived.
It was Michigan State this year. It was it was really honestly Michigan State for the last couple years. And I think once we get into this Duke matchup, we can kind of put a bow on Michigan State talk. And I think the problems that this team is having right now. But round 2, Michigan State was rewarded by playing Duke. And after a nice back and forth game, MSU had a 5-point lead with less than 5 minutes left and were outscored 20-6 down the stretch.
Ouch.
That's bad.
We were watching it. Me and Ryan watched the game together. It was fun.
Yeah.
We were in the garage. We had
First
the
time
heater rolling.
ever.
It was a nice day.
It's a beautiful day.
Oh, it was so nice. I want to do that again.
Okay.
We got time.
Yeah, we will.
But they're done playing, so
But
you
they lost.
can't watch them again.
They
We're gonna
lost.
Can't watch them lose again.
We're gonna go watch
What
like
was the final
Gonzaga.
What was this final score of this one? Sorry, I didn't write that down here.
Oh man, I don't know.
Doesn't
I don't
matter.
know. It's like 76 to 67 or something like
You
that.
know, look, I don't want to call out state fans because I feel like you have, and this is the way it is, in for every team. Like you have those, 5% of Michigan fans that run their mouth, and people bring those up when you're using their arguments. You have that 5% of state fans that are comfortable with what happened, and they're saying, "Hey, we played our guts out. We should be proud." Blah blah blah, and it's like,
Bull crap.
what in the world happened to Michigan State basketball? Because that is not the Michigan State basketball mantra that we were supposed to have the last 15 years. You know what I mean?
They were facing a good Duke team. Let's get into the Duke game a little bit.
I do get that. Yeah, go ahead.
Because they matched up really well. I think they played really well against Duke for the majority of the game. The fact that they ended up getting a 5-point lead with 5 minutes left was actually really surprising. They were down most of the game leading up to that. They went on a good run, and then their weakness showed. And their weakness really was the lack of identity on the offensive side of the ball. They didn't have a go-to guy to control and make a good decision. They didn't have a stable part of their offense to go to game in and game out. They were relying on the random offensive fortune of whoever was going to play well that game.
Yeah, whoever had the hot hand.
Yeah, and that doesn't work long term. It doesn't work against a good team that when they start getting back on defense. Like when you're in a close game, that means that the ball usually is brought up the court and it's half court offense against half court defense, possession after possession, because they're letting the clock run for a little while, and that was their weakness. They weren't running anymore. They were just dribbling in the middle, picking up the ball, looking around for somebody to pass to on the outside, and it bit them over and over and over down the stretch.
There were back-to-back possessions that the offense looked absolutely lost. There was that one where Joey Hauser was like dribbling literally in like a circle. He looked like Easton trying to dribble the ball.
They did a clear out with 15 seconds left on the shot clock to Joey Hauser trying to get by the potential number 1 pick in the draft.
It made no sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
That was very strange to me. But I think, look, Joey Hauser was the reason why they won the first game, and they were trying to use that energy in that hot hand, if you will, and it looked bad. It looked like everybody was lost. It really did.
They didn't have
I know that
Cassius
they
Winston.
cleared it out, but it didn't even look like they were clearing it out. It looked like they were clearing it out, but Joey Hauser didn't know that they were going to clear it out.
No, they were making it up on the spot.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
And it was very strange, and it was back-to-back possession. I forget what the other one was, but I just remember it happening where it was like, those are ugly back-to-back possessions. And that's how you get that 20 to 6
run
stretch down the
I think Walker dribbled into the middle of the court, had endless opportunities to pass or shoot wherever he wanted to go, and it was like 4 possessions in a row where he picked up the ball, looked around, and then passed a ridiculous pass to the outside of 3-point, and then 5 seconds left in the shot clock. What are you going to do? That's what I'm saying. They didn't have the difference maker. They didn't have the Cassius Winston to make the right decision, control the ball, know what you're trying to do on offense. And I'm not saying Michigan has that type of guard, but to contrast this, they know who they can go through, and it's Hunter Dickinson to make the right choice.
Yeah.
And to pass it out or score when he's needed most.
Yeah.
That is the missing link for this Michigan State offense. They had plenty of talent. All these guys can go off at any time, but they didn't have consistent
it's the guy.
Yeah, they didn't have an identity. They didn't have an identity on offense.
Yep, and when Cassius Winston was there, I think he covered up a lot of the warts that I think Michigan State's had, even more so. That it's been a longer issue, I think, for Michigan State basketball than what we realize because of Cassius Winston. But that's part of it, because that's what a lot of these teams do is you get the best guy in the court day in and day out, and he will make you look better than you are. Now, is this a problem for Michigan State moving forward? I don't want to say Tom Izzo needs to retire. I'm not saying he's going to do what Mark D'Antonio did, but I look at it from an outside perspective, and I'm a Michigan fan, and that might be unfair of me to say, but I look at it, it's like something's got to change inside the top, and you continue to hear Izzo talk about, well, these kids, they have the out, they can go do this, they can go do that. We're giving them too much leverage and too much power, if you will. They're when times get tough, they just switch to another school. I don't like it. I don't like the transfer. I don't like how easy it is. I'm on Tom Izzo's side with that. But as the head coach of a basketball basketball team and a massive brand in basketball, you can't have that attitude from the top and continue to grow. And I feel like that's the issue is they stop growing because Tom Izzo is so stuck in his ways of the way he's going to do his thing. And I get it. I'm not arguing the way. Again, I like what Izzo does. I think he's a great coach, but he needs to change. He needs to change. He needs to be flexible. He needs to adapt. That's the right word. Yeah. Now, am I allowed to say that? No. But are state fans willing to say that? That's what I want to know. Is it fair for me to say? Is that part of the issue? I don't want to say the full issue, but is it part of the issue?
The biggest issue with Tom Izzo and the Spartans is he created that expectation a long time ago and has told the Michigan State alums, has told the fan base, this is what we're going to hold ourselves to. This is what we're shooting for every single year. And it has not come to fruition the last handful of years. It's not just the last 2 years, 3 years. This is an ongoing trend for quite some time now.
I mean, they did make the Final Four, which I learned that a couple weeks ago.
But their streak continued.
Okay.
The streak ended the year prior.
It came back. I think what you're getting at, though, is a valid concern, is that Izzo relied on tough love and, like, growing up and overcoming and that whole process of, like, becoming a man, and that was his coaching style, and that's the reason why he brought people from, no names or 3-star recruits or whatever into the stardom, basically, of college basketball. Mm-hmm. And he did it with the lesser recruits compared to the Dukes and Kentuckys. But if he makes their life miserable and then they can just walk and go to another school anytime they want, that is where the concern comes into play, because how are you going to keep those guys? How are they going to ever overcome and then the third, fourth year come into their own as a senior and become a senior leader like we've seen year after year after year? I'm not talking even Draymond Greens. I'm talking like, I don't know, like the studs that come out of nowhere, like a Travis Walton, as a senior, a fifth-year senior, to be the best defensive player in the league and somehow start scoring. Like, he had to overcome a lot of crap that Izzo gave him for a long time to become the man that Izzo wanted him to be over time. Mm-hmm. And if that time isn't allowed anymore, then his coaching staff or his coaching style is outdated, and it's not going to work in this kind of atmosphere. So that's the concern. That's the other side of it.
Yeah.
What they are is one special talent away at all times
but they're
with
not
his coaching.
getting that either.
They might this next year, yeah.
No, it'll be interesting to see. I think Michigan State fans should expect more and demand more. And when I saw, the 5% saying, hey, they tried really hard, they put their guts out there, they fought till the end, I was just like, that is not what you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be January, February Izzo, right? Like, that's what you say, that's what you do, that's what you've set. Don't change it now, because that's when you're giving up. That's when you're throwing in the towel. And I feel like that's what the football team had to do with D'Antonio, is like, as much as we love you, as good as you've been, we want you gone so we can move on and we can grow this thing. And I'm not saying that's what Izzo needs to do, because I think he's a good coach and he's a good recruiter and he's got the cachet. But be careful, because if he's not willing to adapt, then you got to move on from him.
State the new Duke? Maybe? Coach K gone after this year? We'll see.
I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Well, we were I was gonna do a little more with the brackets and stuff. I didn't want to talk about some of the odds here. You got Gonzaga as the favorite, Kansas number 2, Arizona and Houston. Actually, those are your top 4 betting favorites. Duke is all the way down to plus 1,300. I thought that was interesting. I think the scare that they had against Michigan State has a lot to do with that. They were exposed, I think, in a lot of ways. But then you got Michigan at plus 5,000. $100 bet win you 5,000. Don't waste your money. It's not going to happen. Sorry, it's not, but that's just my opinion.
Who would you put $100 on right now?
Purdue.
I would like Purdue at plus 1,000. I also really like Arizona, but they have a tough road.
North Carolina.
That's who I
You like
was
North Carolina?
looking at.
North Carolina. I got them in the Final Four in a lot of my brackets.
Watch out for Arkansas,
Interesting.
guys.
Arkansas?
Arkansas.
At plus 5,000.
If you're looking for a home run and just
so many
plus
options.
5,000.
So many options, and I think a lot of the
16,
teams.
yeah.
Just make sure to put in MI Bet Sports.
Exactly.
Do that
Exactly. What about the Peacocks? The Peacocks. I like the Peacocks.
It's not
plus
even
20,000.
MI Bets?
MI Bets. MI Bet Sports.
As we talked about here, we are going to skip the Tigers talk. I did want to
delay. We're going to delay it next week.
All right, we'll talk about it next week. Hey, that saves me a segment to worry about, right? So we'll just move right on.
Do you want us to rip that sheet off the show sheet?
Yeah, just save it. We'll just screen print it or something.